Hi everyone, I am Courtney Brown, Director of the Farsight Institute, the central civilian venue for full public projects involving remote viewing, as it is done using highly structured methodologies that are derivative from those developed by the United States military and used for espionage purposes. I have a bit of an eye issue going on and it may continue for a few months, so please pardon the dark glasses. Now, if you are watching this video, you know that we are engaged in a new experiment called the Time Cross Project, where we use remote viewing to describe an event or a collection of related or similar events the month before anything happens, essentially giving you tomorrow's news today. For this month of August 2016, our remote viewing sessions suggest that there will be a sudden and unexpected event involving a city or urban area. The remote viewing results are somewhat disturbing at first glance. There appears to be a loss of life and property and the collapse and destruction of one or more major buildings. Again, we could be wrong. This is an experiment, not a declaration of certainty. But we seem to be getting these monthly predictions correct with our new experimental design. So we are as curious as everyone else as to whether or not these predictions for August are accurate. I hope you watch the news along with us during the month of August so that we can see what actually does happen. Learn along with us. Now, for the first time in our monthly series of time cross experiments, all of the viewers have remarkably similar sessions describing what appears to be a singular incident or event. So as you watch these sessions, it is important to remember that the viewers worked independently, separated by vast distances, Hawaii, Great Britain, North Carolina, and none of the viewers shared or compared their sessions in any way while doing their work. So here now are the unedited remote viewing sessions done by Dick Allgire, Daz Smith, and PrinCess Jeanee, all done in July 2016 and published on YouTube on July 31st, describing the major news event of August 2016.
Today I'll be doing a target in July that we're hoping will be a news event in August. So let's get to the board straight away and see how we get on with this. Okay, so the target is 0507. Okay, it's very complex. It's man-made. This feels like structures. They feel very angular. Solid angular structures, and it feels like it's more than one end. It feels like there's a downwards force or motion to the target. It feels like something moves downwards, and it feels layered as well, messy, layered. I almost see linear strut-like components, sharp, jagged angles. This feels very strange. A man-made structure, yeah. In motion. And there feels to be some force, energy here. Maybe explosive. It feels kind of explosive in nature. Okay, let's try to get a bit more on this. Very strange at this stage. Because it feels like it's in motion. It feels like the structure is changing shape and form. So 0507. Okay, so there's land. This feels like a city, feels urban. Dense, populated, but it feels quiet. At the time of the event, it feels kind of quiet. I'm going to put an L here of night. There are people around, but it feels quiet. It feels like an unexpected event. What I feel is there's an intense sound, there's a high rumble sound, there's shaking. It feels like the ground itself is moving. Yeah, I can feel the vibrations, feel the shaking kind of through everything, through my body, feels all around. A great big rush sound. All this seems to come from nowhere. It feels like it's quiet 1 minute, and the next minute this massive rumble, shaking, creaking sound, and then I feel that there's a main structure. There may be more than one, but there's a main structure. It feels like a tall, angular structure. It sort of starts off tall and angular, fills in amongst other structures in maybe a city or urban environment, but then this changes, and it feels like there's a downwards motion to it, and more, and all I end up seeing is just a complete mess of what looks like pancake, broken, crushed structure with jagged parts, all these layered. I see in my mind this picture of all these layered strut-like angular parts in different angles, all jagged, crushed, very linear. So yeah, it almost feels like a structure that's in collapse or in demolition. Yeah, definitely moving with the sound. The sound and the rumbling and the shaking comes first, and then the structure changes its form and shape somewhat. Very strange, because yeah, as I said, this feels like it comes out of nowhere. It feels like it's just a quiet time. There are life around, but not many. It does feel quiet. It does feel like night or something, or middle of the night, you know, that kind of hardly anyone around, but really quiet time. So we have this really quiet time, and then out of nowhere this rumbling noise starts, shaking, structures kind of collapse, and there's life as well at the target. So let's try this again. 05, 07, let's try the life. Okay, there's life, lots of them. They feel dispersed over an area, and they're affected. They feel the shaking, feel the force, and I have a sense of loss and missing here. Missing being key and important. Feels like there's a lot of missing. I would say a lot of missing people. I feel there's lots of death here as well, and destruction. So this feels like a catastrophic event involving at least one structure, or maybe more, in an urban area. It feels like after some noise and shaking, something happens to the structure which may be explosive in nature. It's kind of strange. It feels like it's a downward force movement to this at some point. You know, really messy, kind of, I can feel and see it with clouds of dust, noise, mess, broken, jagged, linear components everywhere. It does feel like there is a small downwards motion to this, but there also feels like, and maybe this is to do with a noise or something, it just feels like there's an explosive nature to this as well. You know, with the force pushing against things, breaking things, things colliding, moving, scraping against each other, layered against each other, all that kind of really dense compactness that seems to be going on. And in amongst this, there is life, and I can feel the life struggling, and some of it, you know, well, some of it dies and some of it's missing. There's just a lot of missing, loss. There's a sense of, there's a real, from the people around that are watching this or seeing this or experiencing this, there's a real sense of loss with this target. It's kind of like, and surprised, like, how can this happen to us? You know, it's like 1 minute it's there, next minute it's gone, kind of thing. And that kind of total shock and surprise on the faces of the people that are left, and the real dense sense of loss within these people. Yeah, definitely something missing. I feel like these are people or families. So this does feel like some kind of yeah, some kind of explosive, falling, catastrophic event that's involving some structures in an urban environment. Feels like it may have started in a quiet period of time. It feels quiet. I'm just looking at it now. Yeah, quiet, peaceful. Then it kind of like comes out of nowhere. Where is this? This kind of feels, yeah, good type thing. Kind of feels, that's not very accurate. Down in this part of the world, it doesn't feel European. I'm not sure if it's American either. No, I'm not sure about that. It feels a bit more down in central. It's hard to tell. Anyway, let's see what else I can get on this. The structures themselves, or I say structures, it feels like there's more than one, but it feels like I'm pulled towards one more than some of the others. A kind of central, large, I don't know, office blocky type thing here. Okay, so we have this explosive type of force, this downwards force. Okay, let's try on the structure. This seems to be the focal point. So 0507. Yeah, there's definitely a structure, and I keep getting linear, and it kind of feels like it probably starts normal structure shaped, you know, side elevation, that kind of thing. But it feels like it doesn't end up like that. It feels like broken and jagged, but almost like it's on top of a hill. Feels like, you know, it's kind of collapsed and there's bits all out all over the place and angular. So this would be the land area. So yeah, it feels like it starts off that side and then kind of transforms this side, really broken, really down. Parts of it feel like it's still standing. Parts of it feel like it's totally pancaked and layered and densely compacted. All this linear stuff that I see here, I keep seeing these linear shapes, you know, that seem to be kind of composed upon each other, overlapping, densely packed. Very irregularly angled, but all very linear at the same time. Feels like beams or pillars or something like that in some kind of disarray. What else on this? We've got the life. We know that there's life watching. We know that there's life affected by this, involved in this. There are life actually missing, being looked for. It feels like there's a recovery type effort to try to find life. It does feel, now the origin of this, I'm not sure if there's an actual proper bomb-like explosion that causes this, or if it's something a bit more natural. It's very hard for me to differentiate the two on this one. without leading myself down a path that I'm not sure comes from me. Because I do feel that there is this real sense at the start of this of vibration and sound. I can feel, you know, if I'm in this structure, I can, there's me in it, and I'll put myself in the structure at the beginning. So there's nothing that's peaceful. Just feels peaceful, calm, and then slowly I can feel the vibration. It feels internal, and fingers are shaking, squeaking. I can actually feel a structure squeaking. You know, feel the metal of it squeaking. The vibrations get more intense. Everything's shaking. The ground shakes. Everything's shaking. Glass. The structure itself, really in depth, kind of really in deep within you, kind of physical vibration, really dense, that really affects you inside. And with this, there's this massive rush, massive dense amount of noise, confusion, chaos, clouds, downwards motion, structure kind of changing shape, malforming, layers compacting, and then an overall sense of people looking at this in reflection, a sense of loss, a sense of longing. It's like, oh my God, how could this happen? You know, what happened? Why? And where? Where are the people? There's missing. Missing seems key to this. And in other words, it seems to be explosive. I don't, as I said, I can't be sure if this is a bomb type explosion or if it's just the nature of the way the structure is affected in the event. So, in summary, this feels like it's going to be a surprise event in an urban city-like location that happens unexpectedly, and there's lots of sound, noise, vibration, which seems to affect a structure or multiple structures, but mainly there's a primary structure that I'm focused upon for some reason. This structure then is changed in shape and form. There's a great downwards movement. It's partly demolished and collapses. There's a great sense of loss of life, death and destruction. Lots of carnage, mess, noise, dust. A real catastrophic event in an urban location, it feels like, that involves multiple structures and great loss of life. So that's it in summary, that's for the August 2016 target that we are viewing in July 2016.
This is target ZAT1-AT01. That target ID was generated randomly from a computer program, and it represents the August news event that we're going to be looking at. Today is July 16th, and I believe we're going to publish this prior to August. We're looking at the major news event in August 2016. I'll begin with some preliminary low-level data. Ideogram ZAT1-AT01. First visual capture. Man, that was a streak of like motion. Something moving really fast. The sound would be hissing sizzle. A sizzling sound. Like air itself ripping and sizzling. Smells of molten, burning metal, burning metallic smells. Temperature is sizzling hot, extremely hot, 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 hot. Texture is like a pressure wave, a buffering wave of air pressure. Okay, let's look at another one. ZAT1-ATO1. Okay, I'll probe this one. And man, that's a tough one to focus in on. I just got more of a sense of streaking motion, barely visible. Sound, radio voices, like a something associated with that, a voice over radio, voices speaking. Smell again is ozone, some kind of acrid gas caused by friction and metal burning. Temperature, sizzling hot, molten hot, very, very hot. Man, that's a hot, 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 hot. Texture itself, molten plasma. Molten plasma is a texture. Let me do one more. ZAT1-ATO1. I'll probe this for a visual. It's like it three similar looking things, something coming off them, something over here. I have no idea what that is. I'll probe this for sounds. Sounds of things raining down, impact sounds, small pieces, impacts, clatter. Smells again, hot metal, molten, burnt smells, burnt. Texture of something fused. See if I see anything else here. Okay, here I finally see some structures and what I take to be land, angular structures, sounds here. I'm probing this one. Static sounds. Burnt metal smells again. Textures of shards of broken glass, glass pieces, broken glass. Low-level data there. Interesting. Motion, energy is... Motion again. Motion here, something, and motion shoots off. So a two-way motion. The sounds associated with this, a deep boom, loud boom, a concussive boom. Temperatures, hot, smells, searing molten metal, acrid burning metal, ozone smells, textures, that shockwave plasma vapor compressed air, so a pushing air texture. Let me see if I can get another a hiss and a booming rumble. Again, that loud, very loud, deep boom. Temperatures, hot, 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 very hot right here, searing molten hot, vaporized metal hot. I also get a texture of compressed air shock wave, the sense of there's a blast wave associated with that. Let me look again. Same thing. Sound, thunder, thunderous roar. Smell, vaporized metal, welding type of smell, that smell of metal heating. It's got that certain distinct vaporized burning metal smell. Vaporized metal. Temperatures, thousands of degrees, very, very high heat. Texture again, plasma, blast wave, compressed air, getting the same thing here again. Let me look again. Okay, beyond that I see structures. They seem to be in the distance. They're good size. I see their angular. Explosive event near structures. I see some people in a structure, but they're not near this. They're somewhere else. They're associated with the target, and I'll look at them a little bit later. Let me put all this low-level data together in a sight sketch. Energetic motion downward. This would be supersonic. And the sound associated with this, the sounds that I heard, the hissing, sizzling shock wave sound, the burning, ripping air. I also heard radio sounds, but I don't think the radio sounds come from this. The radio sounds I'm going to put over here, voices on the radio. May not emanate from this, may emanate from somewhere else, but since they're radio waves, radio sound, voices associated with this, but from elsewhere. This thing comes in supersonic, streaks in. There's a secondary kinetic energy, and I see energy comes this way and then comes out this way, expands here. There's land here. There's structures here. Land, dirt smells, upturned earth. This land is blackened. There's a shape here. I'm going to get into all this a little bit more in depth. What are the sounds? Sounds. Oh, this is the hot, searing heat. It's also hot here. Shock wave. Radio voices. Pretty simple. I feel there's two different land gestalts, so I'm going to look at one land gestalt right now. Call it land one. Rounded but jagged, has a berm. So it's been kind of like excavated by force. Here it's irregular, rocky pieces. It's burnt. It has a smell of charring, upturned earth, charred earth, freshly excavated earth, but earth that's also been burned, charred, and sooty. Feels desolate and ravaged. What's the word I want? Just wiped out. Seared. Things radiate from it. I get a sense of nothing left intact in here. This is just, rubble's not the word, but just I'm losing words. Upturned, wiped, devastated. Now I also saw structures associated with land, so let me look. This will be my second land gestalt. I'll reset and look. I'm going to combine land and structures here because I see a grid work like a city. This is a pretty good size urban area with a lot of buildings, and one of them is domed. I'm not inferring that that's the U.S. Capitol, but there is a dome building. There's a lot of places that have dome buildings. There's bigger buildings here. Some of these are pretty tall. They've been impacted. I get a sense that the buildings have glass blown out. There's damage here. They're damaged by the shock wave. Actually, some of them are actually buckled. Structural, enough force that there's buckling and structural damage to some of the taller buildings. Certainly glass blown out. That's where I got the shards of glass, blast wave that broke all the glass out of them. They're not so damaged over here, but there's an area of big damage right here. This feels, I'd say, America. Don't know where. That's just not sure about that. City sounds, traffic, urban sounds, but I get that horrific booming sound with that and then the secondary destruction sounds, crashing, glass breaking, things falling, crunching, destruction sounds. So this is a significant urban area, a city. Here I feel it was very, very hot. There's still residual heat. This is still giving off heat and off-gassing all kinds of foul stuff. Where am I? Did energy, land. So I've got motion streaking energy and explosive energy. So I'm going to look at those two types of energy differently at different times. So let's start with the first energy gestalt. That's an interesting view because I see It looks to me like the curve of the Earth. And I saw the thin line of atmosphere. Land masses down here. I couldn't tell what part of Earth, but I did see the curve. This does look like a planet. I'm gonna say Earth. And what I see coming through the atmosphere is that energetic streak comes really fast, supersonic. I mean thousands of miles an hour, and it has a like a plasma. I think it's so fast that it's heating the air and causing like a plasma in front of it. This energy feels kinetic. It has tremendous kinetic force. It came from up above the atmosphere down and impacts. Again, the sounds are like ripping air, ripping, roaring, sizzling, hissing. Radio voices are this trips alarms, and then voices start speaking about it. And I'll get to that. There's a result of this. It's all happening very fast. A second energy associated with this, the streaking energy, is energy 2. So these are the same event. They're not different events, but it's trying to break it down to describe it. After this comes in, I see the horizon. I see this outward expanding searing hot molten plasma right here. And I see shock waves that are sympathetic, you know, the same on one side. God, I lose words. My vocabulary goes. They're they come off in straight lines. Symmetrical. When I remote view, I can't spell and I lose vocabulary. There's a symmetrical wave that comes off of this. Again, I don't get a sense of this being nuclear, not conventional fission, fusion, nuclear. It feels more kinetic. I don't know what kind of, this is some kind of exotic energy that I can't really get a handle on at this point, other than it streaks in, comes out symmetrically. It's a very symmetrical energy. I talked about the structures. I saw one structure in particular that a significant structure, it gets like buckled. As this happens, as this high energy thing comes in, it trips something. It trips an alarm system. It would be like there's some system that I don't understand that causes, it's not like Claxton, it's not like in the old days where they're, it's more like cell phones start buzzing, communication devices start getting triggered, computer systems, alert goes out through systems. So simultaneously there are nodules all over the place where this alarm has been tripped. And so it happens very fast, and then people are alerted to it. And some of the people that are alerted to it are in a structure that is like a bunker, okay, very well reinforced. Think Cheyenne Mountain, but I don't think this is Cheyenne Mountain. This is, that was so mid-20th century. This is more high-tech. There are screens and displays, big screens. There are consoles with a lot of people here at desks. I see one guy in particular, I get a visual of, he's sitting here looking at a screen. He's very intent on this. And then something happens over here, so he's here, and his head whips around like, oh my God, there's another alert over here. Something even more important gets his attention. So these people are hectic. They're frightened, but they're being professional. They're keeping a professional air, like, okay, we've trained for this. This is real world. Follow the op plan. Follow the, like a plan goes into effect, and they can consult that, and they know what to do. They're trained. They're reacting professionally, but it's a very hairy thing. There's stuff going off on screens. There's alerts coming. People are demanding information. They want more information. This happened so unexpectedly. They didn't have a warning. It was just like everything was going normal, and then zoom, the triggering event triggered the sensors. The sensors set alarms, and that has a domino effect of all this activity. This is very serious, very frightening. They're struggling to maintain professionalism. I hear voices, some voices being raised, urgent talk. Professional, but very urgent. Outside, a wider view of, this looks to be water, a bay. I see a jut of land. I see structures, many structures, urban area, a lot of land here. And above this, I don't want to say that's a nuclear mushroom cloud, but it has sort of those characteristics. It's thousands of feet high. It's looming over the horizon. It looms over these buildings. I see it in the distance. Something has sucked up a lot of debris, and there's a lot of smoke. I see this as being I get a sense of colorful sunsets. You know, when Mount Pinatubo, back in the 80s or 90s, a long time ago, a couple decades ago, we got sunsets thousands of miles away, like an entire hemisphere. Enough stuff is stirred up that there will be colorful sunsets for thousands of miles around, maybe even around the globe. Looking in closer at that cityscape, there's buildings see a roadway and many people in the street. They're running all in one direction. A sense of, this is like a bad scene from a disaster movie, like, you know, the God, I'm losing words. It's the, not classic, but people running, kind of sort of reminiscent of 9/11, but more like the, you've seen scenes like this in the movies. The cliched scene of everybody on the street run. These people are terrified. They don't know what it is, and they're in an outright panic. And I see other people human forms these people are, I see their forms, but they're not intact bodies. They're more like, what's the word, embedded, entombed, fused. These people are fused into the land or the structure or whatever this was. They're fused into it. It's like those bodies you see in Pompeii. It's not quite like that, but similar, just frozen, fused into this material. Human remains, death. A weird, fused is the only word I can use to, entombed in a fused way. This is a bad thing. I think the president will take to the airwaves live from the Oval Office, trying to reassure us, telling us what's been going on. It'll be a moment where everybody's watching. I think he'll be trying to reassure us, come together, we'll get through this. He's not telling us the whole truth. He's withholding information. He couldn't tell us everything he knows about it. But he needs to be out front and have one of those moments. You know, I've got to say that I hope I'm making this up. A remote viewer can get off track, and we're doing this public demonstration, and certainly it's getting a lot of attention. In a sense, there's too much front loading to this because we know it's going to be a news event. We know it's going to be something dramatic. It's very easy, very possible for a remote viewer to take a wrong turn, get an idea, and then follow imagination and create this, and actually create the visuals and create the sensory data in your own mind. It can happen, and I hope this happened here. There's another possibility that we should bring up, because we are doing very public demonstrations and getting a lot of attention, and maybe, you know, this could be a mask. I haven't seen any work from any other viewers on this target, so I'm kind of out on my own limb right now. I'm kind of on my own tightrope. So I don't know if they're getting anything like this. It's possible this could be imagination, it could be a mask, or elements of it could be true. It looks like a big event, and I hope it's not like I'm seeing, sincerely. But here it is. I don't know if we're even going to publish this. If we publish this, hey, I'll take the blame if it's wrong. Happens sometimes. So that's it. That's a wild one, man. Whew. I hope this doesn't happen.
I have a lot of land with a lot of structures, very, very city-like. I'm a lot of man-made smells, a lot of people, a lot of structures, not much foliage. I'm trying to get how I can draw this here. Not much foliage. It's a lot of subjects that are inside the structures and outside on the base surface as well. There's people as far as I can see, like miles out, maybe like a mile or so out. There's so many. It's very chaotic. I'm hearing a lot of wind type sounds. I'm hearing a lot of voices, it's loud, it's everybody's everywhere. I'm trying to get the feel of this place here. There's some structures overhead as well, or objects or whatnot. They're moving very fast. Some are kind of hovering. I'm gonna hop into one of those and see if I can get a clear view of what these structures are looking like. I know that, let me see, it's very, the buildings are quite close together, like lofts or apartments, or I'm not quite sure where I am yet. I've got some that has peaks on it. I'm not sure what that peak is yet, if it's a main building. It's very man-made, so it's got to be a building, but it's over in this general area. Got some, let's see, and people everywhere. There's tons and tons of people, almost more people than there are buildings. So it's very, and they're scattered all over the place. Moving very fast, a lot of energy, a lot of activity. Is very, let me see, buildings close together. There's things flying overhead here. Y'all know I'm not the best drawer. There's a lot of these. They're flying overhead. Some are hovering, kind of helicopter-like, I'm guessing. Some are moving a lot faster. You can feel the wind. You can hear the wind. I'm hearing a lot of. There's a lot of what is it? Popping or banging of some sort. I'm not sure if it's what it's coming from. Let me see. I don't know what that is. There's a lot of popping and banging, a lot of flying sounds, zooming past. It's very chaotic. This looks way too organized for what I'm seeing. It's very sporadic and chaotic. A lot of people everywhere. There seems to be moving structures on the ground. Are they attacking them? There seems to be what I am feeling a shooting of some sort going at both angles, going up, going down. I believe it's like they're attacking them. It's like it's a definite war zone feel here. I'm gonna go back 24 hours to see kind of what's causing all of this, because I just jumped in the middle of it. Okay. 24. I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna go back 24 hours to see kind of what's causing this. And then the target time, actual target time, and then I'm gonna do 24 hours after as well. Let's see. Bang. Okay, there's an object flying overhead, or whatnot. There's lots of smoke coming from here. Something has landed in the city. There's I don't know if it's a truck, a box. I can't really tell what it is, but something landed here. There's a lot of smoke. There's a lot of chaos. You can see white or gray, white or gray-ish. It's everywhere, kind of black. It's a very, very huge response that came from this. Before all of this, it was kind of quiet. A lot of commotion. People are coming from every angle. There's a lot of whizzing sounds. I'm assuming shooting. You can see the chaos is just starting. It gets worse and worse, and it spills out. This place kind of reminds me of the way a military base kind of is. I come from a military town, so it's very military-like. I'm gonna go back into where the actual target is right now. it's like a terrorist attack almost, is what it feels like. No one was expecting this. This wasn't a planned out war. This is something that's happening so fast. People are afraid. People are wondering, taking action, trying to take complete action. They're thinking of safety. They're thinking of families. They're thinking, their minds are racing, and they're trying to act as fast as possible. It's very battle-like. It's very chaotic. It's very it's almost terrifying at how much I'm hearing and seeing right now. I'm going to try to go look after the actual target is and see if it still looks the same or what's kind of happening here. It's a lot. Very. There's a lot of, it's dark, smoky, rocky. You can see debris, very harsh, kind of worse than where it is now. It's a very harsh environment. I can't tell if this is death. People are dying or are dead already. It's low buildings. Buildings are lower. I'm not sure if maybe they're broken, or some of the buildings are lower. There's a lot of movements by subjects. There's a lot of people. There's a lot of people going, moving things, getting into vehicles that look like this. It's just so much. Things are flying overhead. I'm not sure if it's more of these or if they are taking precaution now. There's a lot of things flying overhead. There's a lot of things. Oh wow, this is just, it's not good. It doesn't look good at all. It's very scary. You can see chaos emerge from each building, from the central location. You can see things spreading out like as far as your eyes can go. If you're hovering over, you can see just people everywhere. Movement, very fast movement. It's scary. It's frightening because it hasn't happened yet, which means this is. I wish I could feel exactly where this is. People are speaking English. They are brown, but different shades. More on they're brown. There's some white. I hear English, but I also hear different accents as well. I can't place. I mean, this is a country, so there's a lot of people that have different accents out here, but I don't know where this city is. I just know that it's got a lot of buildings wherever this is taking place. They're rather tall. It's connected close to a city. This is why it's giving me a feel of a military base. But I can't call it that. It feels very terroristic. And it hasn't happened yet. Hasn't happened yet. What is going on here?
I hope you continue to follow the results of our monthly Time Cross project. It is one of the most interesting remote viewing projects ever attempted. Also, I hope you get to watch some of our Mysteries projects. We are offering our Time Cross project free to the public as a way of demonstrating the reality and potential of remote viewing. Quite honestly, it costs us a few $1,000s each month to do this. So your help by watching our Mysteries projects is the only thing that pays the bills. Also, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Stay ahead of the curve. Let the mainstream fade in the dust. Be there now.